In 2025, the USDA reports beef prices increased by 2.4% from May to June. Well, new this morning, a livestock specialist shares why prices have increased so much over the recent months and years. WGEM's Sydney Lyerly is live to explain. Sydney, good morning.
Kyle, good morning. You can kind of see it a little bit better now, but there is a farm here behind me, and while you've probably noticed that you are paying more at the store for beef, you might not realize why that is or how that has impacted the farmers. One livestock specialist tells me that in the last decade, the cattle supply has been decreasing and has had a harder time keeping up with the demand.
From the farm level perspective, we've had a lot of producers that have been squeezed out of the business in the last decade. So numbers are, cattle numbers are at lows we have not seen in about 70 years-ish.
He says farmers have felt a lot of pressure because of low numbers and have had to respond by raising their own prices. Irwin says he believes prices will continue to increase as long as the cattle supply is decreasing, but once the cattle supply begins to go back up again, he thinks the prices will finally go back down. Kyle, back to you.
Sydney, thank you. And coming up in the next half hour, Sydney talks to an Adams County farmer about how the low supply numbers are impacting